Alright, so we're hopping into game number 2 of this series. Shugo has chosen Warrior. Since he won, his Hunter was eliminated. He can't use Hunter again, and Tank Wheels has decided to use the Hunter again. So we've got another Hybrid Hunter against Grim Patron matchup. We saw this yesterday in Tank Wheels against BNet Player. Or was it Rainerous? I think we saw it actually in the Rainerous matchup. So, let's see here. What does the Warrior want to do? Your game plan here is, well, you get 3 drops and an execute. So I think you're going to just have to armor up here, obviously. But what's your follow-up? Turn 3, are you going to drop a Frothing Berserker? Are you going to play an Acolyte? I think if the Mad Scientist comes down here, Shugo's going to go for the Acolyte play because of the possibility of getting 2 cards from what he sees on board, and it forces a bow charge otherwise if he wants to go down to just 1 charge. So I think that Acolyte is the clear play. Worst case scenario, it absorbs 3 damage and draws you a card. So seems like the play. Frothing Berserker is a more aggressive stance. I guess he's not too worried about comboing it or anything like that. He's just going for the most board presence he can get. That is a better choice if you expect that your opponent has an Eaglehorn Bow. And I guess it is pretty safe to say that it'll have either an Eaglehorn Bow or an Animal Companion. Normally Hunter has that by turn 3. And an Animal Companion would either give you a Huffer that could kill off the Acolyte by itself, or a Misha that would stand in the way, or it would give a Leok, which would boost the Mad Scientist to 3 attack. So, in retrospect, probably the Frothing Berserker was the better play. Now, it's interesting he opts to go for the Glaive Zuka here. So that he can coin Freezing Trap rather than just playing the Eaglehorn Bow. I have to say I like this play quite a lot. It gives you more damage on your board, even though it's 1 less attack for the weapon. So basically that evens out. Plus it allows you to squeeze out the Freezing Trap, which stops the Frothing Berserker from trading with your board. So what does Shugo do here? He has enough mana to play a 3-drop and execute, but he can't execute anything because it's not injured. He really wishes that was a Whirlwind, I think, but he's going to go ahead and proc the Freezing Trap. It is okay that to get that Freezing Trap, I think, since it's not a bow, you're not giving him an extra charge. You may as well get the Freezing Trap over with. You're probably not going to get a significantly better Freezing Trap at any point. And I think he did it mostly because he was just desperate for cards. There, if the Acolyte doesn't get traded into, he can actually attack with it. It wouldn't be stuck by a Freezing Trap, and that would give him cards, because he's taking a whole lot of damage right now. Alright, so what do you do here? You can play a Grim Patron and enrage it to get 2 Grim Patrons. That can't be correct, though. I think Tank could either ignore it or trade easily into it and keep going, and either way he'd be just fine. If you Warsong Commander, you could charge your Armor Smith into the Leper Gnome. That might make some sense. Struggling to find a better play than that. I think you could also, after you do that, enrage the Scientist to kill it. So that clears everything except for the Spider, and it gets you an armor. Although, killing the Leper Gnome does do 2 damage. So it looks like he's gone with that play. This is, I think, the most defensive play that he had. And a defensive play is called for considering how low the health total already is. Let's see if he uses Enrage or not. Okay, so He didn't use Inner Rage on the Scientist. He went with the less, he went with the more greedy play. He could have denied 3 damage, but he thinks that Inner Rage is going to be more valuable than 3 damage later on, either by using it to snipe an opponent's minion or most likely part of a combo for yourself. Like, he wants to be able to play Grim Patron, Inner Rage, Whirlwind, that kind of stuff. Oh boy, Huffer. 7, 8 damage, 11 damage with Quick Shot, 10 without it. I think, okay, you kill the Armor Smith here. So hopefully Shugo gets back in time. Honestly, though, I don't think he has any chance. Let's see. What would he be able to do here? Okay. Well, he can play... Alright, so he can play Grim Patron, Inner Rage it, Inner Rage the Huffer, execute the Huffer. And that gives him 2 Grim Patrons. And stop some of the bleeding. He's still, I think, in a really bad spot. But that looks to be the best play he had available. Okay, so how much damage is this? 3 plus 5 is 8, 9. It's 9 damage. Interesting. He decided not to go face there. I don't know. I think I would have just gone all face and ignored the board. But I don't think there's a way to lose from this position. If it was a control warrior, there might be more to think about. You could be looking at like shield block and shield maiden and that kind of stuff to get back. But Tank Wheel's Grim Patron, Shugo's Grim Patron has very little in the way of healing, I think. And you've already seen an Armor Smith. So probably the only other healing would be 1 more Armor Smith. Alright, is this lethal now? I think this is probably lethal. 2, 3, 6, 11, 13. Okay, so it's easily lethal. So Tank Wheels wins game 2. And he ties up the series at 1 apiece.